So, what would y'all do for a Sunday, boy? We got the 1,000 Suns Suck. Shout out to Pancreas No Work for this video. Yesterday, we actually reacted to the Space Wolves Suck. We reacted to the Space Wolves Suck. A lot of you guys actually enjoyed that video. But before we get into it, I just want to say, man, comment down below a Christmas tree emoji to be entered into the Christmas giveaway that will be revealed on Christmas Day, which is December 25th. All you gotta do is comment down below a Christmas tree emoji one time. Christmas tree emoji one time. You can spam it if you want, just for like engagement, but like you're already entered in. And yeah, the winner will be revealed on December 25th through a spin the wheel. So make sure you guys comment down below that. Other than that, man, let's go.
This isn't my first video being baby mad about a faction that annoyed me in a game, but I assure you, that doesn't mean that what you're about to hear is anything but the most objective truth about the level of garbage that is this faction. But a faction can be trashed for a variety of different reasons. With Khorne, I despise the gameplay. Unga Bunga, I just win in melee and stop thinking. I don't care that Khorne factions can have a surprising amount of depth. Most people play them infuriating to fight them when the slightest mistake takes you to the Khorne 8-pound town. Or Bretonnia,
Hey,
where
yo.
other things considered, they're just...
Now, real quick, here's what I'm gonna say about this, right? With the with the 1,000 Suns, y'all. Ironically, it's so crazy because before I even like really hopped into Warhammer lore, I actually knew who the 1,000 Suns was from Warhammer Space Marine 2. I'm pretty sure we, and when I say we, I mean like I almost say the Space Marines. Sorry, the Ultramarines went up against the 1,000 Suns in the big battle in Space Marine 2. And then, I don't know if you guys remember or not, but I actually got to Warhammer through the video game, through Warhammer Space Marine 2. This is why like we're still doing video games now, because bro, without video games, I would have never ever gotten into Warhammer, y'all, ever. I was pretty much reacting to every single big Warhammer Space Marine 2 trailer. Probably like a year or two prior before the game actually came out in 2024. So I was really excited about this game. I didn't know anything about the lore or nothing. I just wanted to just play the game. And usually what's so crazy is, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I actually, whenever like a new game came out last year in 2024, I would react to like the new gameplay, whatever, and then I would actually react to the lore of that game. That's literally how I started checking out Warhammer lores, because I started reacting to the lore of Warhammer Space Marine 2, and then I checked out Major Kill, then I checked out Bricky, then I checked out Westhammer was the first ever Warhammer consecrated that I've ever checked out. So it's just crazy how things just go. So this is why I could never 100% let go of gaming, because gaming literally got me here. Like video games literally got me here. So I would never ever let go of video games, because without video games I would not be here with you guys.
so unbelievably boring and unoriginal. Yes, I like King Arthur. No, making a faction entirely based off King Arthur doesn't cut it. I need more than knights are cool for a faction, because that isn't going anywhere. Everyone knows knights are cool. You actually have to do something beyond that. Especially when both the Empire and the High Elves have their own knights, as well as 1,000 other reasons those factions are interesting. But the 1,000 Suns hit their own kind of suck in a different way. Bretonnia and Khorne, regardless of their faults, get plenty of victories and moments of glory. Khorne is Khorne and is therefore the only Chaos God allowed to truly shine. If you think that's a bit extreme, consider Age of Sigmar's opening lore, where Khorne's forces got bored after Chaos conquered the mortal realms and attacked every other Chaos faction at once. And
That is the most brain rot thing I've ever heard in my life. I promise you, Warhammer is like the only setting where somebody would get so bored of just taking out millions of people that they would then attack their other fellow evil people. So like, for example, like he just said, Khorne and his demons, Khorne and his menaces to societies, Khorne and his goons got so bored at what they were doing to the point to where they started attacking other chaos like gods and like other chaos gods factions. It's crazy how bored you can be.
as for Bretonnia, even I have to admit that you gotta break out the cannons or magical weapons if you want to take down a Grail Knight. I hate them more than any other, but they're tough. But the 1,000 Suns? Among other reasons, I think they suck because they're just so pathetic. From beginning to end, the tale of the 1,000 Suns is just feeling sorry for them. The universe itself seems to hate them, and you know what? I'm not going to try to change that. Instead, I'm going to partake in what I consider to be a time-honored tradition, kicking the vile sons of Magnus the Red square in the ribs. But before we start, tell me, are you not right now listening to my voice? You know what you could be listening to me on? Raycon and their Everyday Earbuds, the sponsor of the...
Hey, Pancreas No Work, bro. Get that bag. And Raycon, yo, hey, my email.
from their absolute very beginning as Space
My bad,
Marines.
y'all.
As the
Sorry
Great
about that.
Crusade was just beginning, the Thousand Suns showed that in the future they would be nothing but complete and utter failures. Their starting was fine enough. There have been worse instances of newly minted Space Marines instantly going wrong. Their Primarch and Gene Seed source was Magnus the Red, who was the Psyker Primarch, so naturally anyone who tested as a good recipient for the Thousand Suns Gene Seed would be at least potentially good at Psyker stuff. So far so good, in as much as trying to make a dedicated army of wizards in the setting of 40k can be considered a good idea. But very quickly into the Great Crusade, you start to see just how much of a failure of an army, of a legion, the Thousand Suns will become. Now this may be a controversial statement, but if an army begins spontaneously melting into horrific monstrosities at random intervals, you do not have a very good army. No, I'm really thinking outside the box with that one.
And you know what's so crazy? Yo. And correct me if I'm wrong, right? But yo, didn't the Emperor offer Magnus like, oh, what did he offer him? I think the Emperor even still forgave Magnus after after Magnus put that big hole into the web wave, right? Yo, then the Emperor was like, yo, bro, I forgive you, bro. Like, everything's all good with us. You know, as a matter of fact, bro, you know what, bro? You can live with me, bro, in the big mansion, rent free. All you gotta do is let go of those 1,000 sons. Yo, this man Magnus, I kid you not. I'm pretty sure Magnus stood 10 toes in front of the Emperor and was like, no, I'm gonna stay with my faction. Turns out your faction is absolutely, bro, booty juice, bro. Booty water. Straight up hot dog water, bro. I could see if you had a really good faction. Bro, the Thousand Sons are garbage. Bro, I went crazy on them boys in Space Marine 2. Them boys is garbage. I dropped LeBron number. I dropped Wilt Chamberlain numbers against those dudes in Space Marine 2. Those dudes are not good at all. And you passed up on a rent-free. Yo, Magnus, for somebody that has so much power, bro, you are a dummy. Bro, respect it.
But it's true. And the Thousand Suns, just a few years into the Great Crusade, have already failed the task that for most people isn't a task. That's not even on the checklist. Why the hell would it be? The flesh change would rack the Thousand Suns, and between it and combat fatalities, well, you know their name. You know how things go. By the time they found Magnus, there was 1,000 sons of Magnus left. Apparently they had the name before that happened, because something Emperor foresaw this crap, but the point remains. They kept melting until there was only 1,000 left, which as an army is really pathetic. As much as plenty of us give GW crap for being bad with numbers, Space Marine chapters having only 1,000 Marines isn't necessarily the worst thing given their usual missions. They're deployed to fight in the highest stakes encounters where a surgical strike of these demigods of war can make all the difference. Failing that, they perform similar missions to hold the enemy off until the endless wall of meat that is the Imperial Guard can arrive to wage a more traditional war. Of course, that's for chapters. The Space Marine legions were the conquering army, and it's real damn hard to have a good, sustainable conquering army with only 1,000 dudes, magic or not. But thankfully they find Magnus and things can get better, right? Wrong, because even though this next thing isn't directly the Thousand Sons' fault, it's more the reason to look at them and just feel pity. For one, Big E not telling his kids about chaos, or anyone that wasn't
That is crazy. That is down bad. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's literally like, that's like me having a kid, bro, and like me telling my kid, hey, like you busting the neighbor's car's windows out, like you doing that, like bro, like that's not a bad thing. No, like you're good. Like there's no consequence for that. Like I'm not gonna have to pay for that. Like that's, I mean, you're good. That's legit. Like seeing your kid do something bad and not telling them the consequences. That's legit. Like, or let me put it in this way. That's legit. Like you live in the suburbs and like every single day on the news you hear that this specific street has murder, violence, whatever, right? And that's like and that's like me knowing that, but me not telling my kids, hey, don't go on that street. I'm pretty sure any parent with a brain, every single day they look at the news and they see that same street that has murder, violence, etc. on it. Bro, I would be a fool not to tell my kid, hey, like, by the way, before you leave, like, you know, I love you, by the way, but do not go on this street right here. Do not go. I don't care if you gotta take the long way. I don't care. Yo. I don't care if everybody take that way as a shortcut. Do not go on this street right here. I can't believe the Emperor didn't tell all 20 of his sons, hey y'all, like it's a big thing called the chaos, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like, make sure you don't, make sure you don't entertain, the thought of even joining the chaos because it can lead to this, it can lead to this, da da da. Like the fact that he didn't do this, bro, just shows how much of a trash parent he was, bro. I'm sorry, like I don't want to be all negative, y'all, but like he's like the more I learn, I just feel like the Emperor was legit a trash parent, y'all.
This means that as an overall point, the Thousand Sons are like everyone else and don't really appreciate the horror that is the warp until it's too late. Since they're psychers who are inherently connected to the warp beyond anyone else, it's doubly so horrid for them. But because Magnus in particular doesn't know about things he really should know, he goes off into the warp to save the Thousand Sons in his own special way. And all it cost him was an eye, isn't that great? Oh, which was lost because of a deal he made with Tzeentch. Except he didn't know it was Tzeentch, or that there could be a Tzeentch, or that Tzeentch was anything but some exceptionally powerful entity of the warp and not
horrible father, bro. Bro, your sons are supposed to, how powerful they are, they're supposed to know that off the bat. The fact that he didn't teach his kids that, bro, man, he's really a down bad. Like I thought he was a horrible parent. Like I thought he was a horrible parent at first, y'all. Like he's genuinely a bad parent, bro. Like horrible.
the
Like,
chaos god
literally.
of magic, fate, and backstabbing. So they meet Magnus.
He's the type of parent to like give his kids like he's the type of parent to like, accidentally give his kids like Jack Daniels alcohol, but then it turns out he thought it was apple juice or something like that. I don't know. I feel like the Emperor, like, he's all powerful and he's smart or whatever, but like something to like he's just a horrible parent.
So now they're damned permanently. They just don't know it yet. Our men, out of all people, had some idea that whatever Magnus did would be important, but that's like saying the mountain you live next to might be important, and it turns out to be an active volcano. Bit of an understatement in hindsight. With them now being temporarily saved from the flesh change, however, we get to the part of the Thousand Sons' mass character development where we learn that they've always been assholes who obsess over knowledge. Does there happen to be some interesting warp knowledge on this otherwise completely unimportant planet? Time to put the entirety of this vital crusade on hold because the Thousand Sons found a limited edition copy of One Piece Chapter 30 and they collectively climaxed at the thought of getting a hold of it. Is
One Piece good? I heard that like One Piece was like extremely long. That like it was like one of the longest animes of all time. Is that true?
A battle actively taking place, but off to the side there's a funny looking warp artifact that in the grand scheme of things doesn't matter at all. My apologies, Lehman Russ, but Magnus and his entire legion have better things to do so you and your forces can get bent. Oh, or my favorite example. Is there a library actively being shelled? Magnus and his legionnaires will stop it. Not because that's a monstrous crime against humanity, no, no, no. Magnus outright said kill all the people you want, the books are what matters. He needs the lore. Him and his bastard sons all put up a psychic shield to keep the library from being shelled, up to and including it being bombarded from orbit. Unfortunately for him, but fortunately for my sense of schadenfreude, the person he was arguing with over and keeping the shield up to protect the library from was Conrad Kurz. I'm sure you can guess how Magnus's impassioned argument about the sanctity of knowledge went over with Kurz.
Wipe this pathetic planet from the face of the galaxy.
So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that they sucked horribly hard at being an army even after the gene seed issues were temporary. Kurz.
Wipe this pathetic planet from the face of the galaxy.
Knowledge went over with Kurz.
Wipe this pathetic planet from the face of the galaxy.
So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say
So wipe this pathetic planet from the galaxy.
that they sucked horribly hard at being an army even after their gene seed issues were temporarily fixed. It's both pathetic and enraging. From the pathetic standpoint, they're so enslaved to knowledge they make Slaanesh followers look positively restrained. They hear a whisper of a rumor of a possibility of an artifact or some repository of lore, and they come across almost as hopeless addicts as they chase after it, as if they can't help themselves from trying to collect everything they can, regardless of how important whatever they're doing instead may be. From an enraging standpoint, this is a level of AWOL that would redefine military education in the real world if something like that happened. Imagine being any type of soldier in the Great Crusade. Space Marine, normal human, doesn't matter much. You receive word you're getting aid from the Thousand Sons, which is great. This is a pretty tough battle, and regardless of your opinions on Psychers, you can on some level accept they're good at conquering words. They arrive, they do some good work, and at the climax of the battle, they leave. Well, I mean, surely there's a good reason for this. Enemy forces must have warped in last second, and they deployed to deal with it. Yeah, that's a good explanation. That sounds reasonable. And then you find out that no, that didn't happen. Instead, on the next planet over in this system that you've already mostly conquered, you discovered that they found out there was a pawn shop on it that held some glowing artifact or other. The moment they heard about it, the entire Legion left to go comb the planet for anything else that might be found. The level of rage I would be feeling in that moment if I was a commander during that battle would summon a rift directly to the Brass Citadel. Holding knowledge as sacred can be applaudable, but there's holding knowledge as something worth preserving, and then there's this shit. This is infuriating to read about, more so because until the Council of Nicaea, I don't think it ever bit them in the ass. You ever know someone who would always do the stupidest, most outrageous garbage every time you talk to them or hear about them, but it never seems to catch up with them? That was the Thousand Sons. At least Lehman Russ waited until he and the Lion had conquered Foch to punch his brother in the face. At least the Space Wolves do their job before they go get piss drunk. Until, of course, Nicaea, where without getting into too much detail, Magnus got exactly what was coming to him. No more Psychers, no more Librarius, no more casting telekinetic magic because you're too lazy to just walk over and grab a beer from the fridge yourself. Magnus, in spite of his initially okay argument, failed to realize that almost no one there liked him, almost no one there wanted him, and that what he proposed instead for Psychers was absolutely insane. And what did they do with this edict to stop casting magic like they've been doing? Absolutely nothing. And while I started this video by saying they're pathetic more than anything, as I've been writing, I've discovered it's more of a 1-2 punch for why they suck. It's this fun mix of them being pathetic and enraging. Post-Nicaea, they showed the pathetic part by way of the addiction comparison I made earlier. The literal moment the council was over and everyone went their separate ways, Magnus just went, nah, we're gonna ignore the Emperor and everyone else and do our own thing. Which, granted, they weren't the only ones who did that. Jagged-Eye Khan and the White Scars by virtue of being on the fringes of Imperial space.
But they're cool, though. They're cool. They can do that. These guys, they're cool. Magnus, like, I try not to hate Magnus, man, because, like, I could kind of, like, he was only trying to help. I understand it. But, like, Magnus is one of those, Magnus, he's the definition of a clumsy person, bro. They try their all to help, but, like, them trying to help, they cause more pain or more problems to the task at hand, if that makes sense, you know? And you can only feel bad for somebody like that because their intention is to help. But what happens is they're so clumsy in what they do, and they make so many of these little mistakes that nobody trusts like a person like Magnus. Y'all, there are people in real life like Magnus, you know? And I'm pretty sure we've all had, you know, Magnus moments before, if that made sense. Like we've all had moments where, you know, where we tried to help, but then we made it worse, and then, you know, we were clumsy sometimes, etc. But at the same time, you know, like somebody like Magnus, bro, like instead of him using his brain, and even if he accepted the Emperor's offer to like forgive him or whatever, and even if he kept trying to like, you know, help the Emperor out, and he was still making mistakes, his intentions would still be pure. But the fact that he saw that and was like, man, you know what? Let me just join like the little evil side or whatever. That's what messed it up. Because people who really try to help, but they end up like, you know, making things worse. A lot of those people still try to help, bro. Some people do become distant. Some people's like, well, you know what? Well, since they don't need my help, or since I make everything worse, then I'm gonna just get away from them, whatever. And you can only feel bad for those people. But some people, bro, even if they do make the problem worse, they still keep trying to help people because it's their intentions. People see that, you know. So Magnus, I feel like he wasn't a lost cause. I mean, I think he just made his decision, you know, like.
At any given moment, just kind of maybe ignored it a little bit too. But you see, this is where the rage part comes in, because Jagged-Eye Khan and the White Scars were smart. They used Psychers when absolutely necessary. As I'm sure you can guess from the way I started this comparison, the key words of that sentence were when absolutely necessary. If there was a problem that either couldn't conceivably be solved without magic, or if the other options were too costly, they broke out the Chain Lightning. They didn't do it for problems they could solve by other means because they could tell the warp was incredibly dangerous. The Thousand Sons, meanwhile, were specifically told by the Emperor they are delving far too deeply into matters he only brought up in passing as a way to keep them away from it. They heard him say that and they all just went, nah, I'd win. Look, I get it. I also don't like the Emperor. I have complained many times about the Emperor and will do so again in the future. But when he says, hey everyone, don't excessively tap into the alternate reality that's so dangerous we have to have a giant magical lighthouse and partially magic shields up whenever we interact with it. When you put it like that, I'm kind of inclined to agree with him.
True.
And they just went right back to it the moment he turned his back. Going off an earlier comparison again, this is the person you know who constantly goes 80 in a 30 speed zone and somehow got away with just a warning. By all accounts...
And also, that's the type of person to like... that's the type of person to like, you know, like break off from the group. Like, let's say, for instance, like, let's say, like, we're all playing Warzone. A person that thinks like the 1,000 Suns is the same person that tries to be Commando and try to be John Wick and be by themselves while we're playing Warzone, and they drop off at a whole different spot while the other 3 people drop off at the same spot, you know, as a squad, like every other squad do. And this is why the person that drops off by himself at a whole different spot gets killed 10,000 times because he's by himself. It's an ego thing.
This should have been a wake-up call, or at least a sign to dial their speed back to 50 so they avoid the really big speeding ticket. But no, they just kept going at it. So yada yada yada, we get the Horus Heresy, and for a brief moment where I stopped bullying them, Magnus breaking the webway wasn't a grievous error on his part. Not one I fault him for at any rate. Big E should have used his colossal intelligence to tell Magnus about the webway project that involved the golden throne Magnus was designed to sit on. I can't blame Magnus for that because he didn't have crucial information. I can blame Magnus for not picking up the phone when Lehman showed up to recreate the fall of Reach all over Prospero, though. I can blame Magnus for doing what the Halo TV show did and having all of Prospero's defenses just turned off. Reminder for anyone who forgot about that little nugget, by the way. Oni just taking the spaceborne assets defending Reach and leaving.
I've never watched the Halo show before.
Back to my intended bitching here. The Thousand Sons who aren't Magnus have a rare show of pulling their own heads out of their asses for a moment by ignoring their Primarch and trying to fight off the Space Wolves. It goes well for them until the Sisters of Silence arrive. It abruptly stops going well.
My crushes, my babies. Yo, Pam, don't be gatekeeping. Put a picture of the Sisters of Silence up right now, yo.
Well, and then Magnus finally gets involved as well. On the one hand, his entrance is awesome, and pretty much anything he looks at almost immediately dies. On the other hand, the pathetic part and enraging part come packaged together here. Magnus couldn't even stick to his guns and let his people be massacred, which is a realization that came only after the Space Wolves were allowed to just waltz past his defenses and burn down like 90% of the planet. Amazing stuff as always, Magnus the Red Buffoon. Thank you for participating. And then he teleports everyone out of Prospero and fully commits to Tzeentch, because as one final reason to feel bad for them, on top of Prospero burning down, the flesh change came back in force. Magnus would go on to hallucinate the Emperor offering him forgiveness if he just abandoned his sons. Or maybe it did actually happen and Vulcan was lying about Magnus dreaming it. Or Vulcan did.
Vulcan doesn't lie. Vulcan, I don't mean to, like, you know, to be that guy or not, but Vulcan actually doesn't lie. He actually tells the truth. And so whatever Vulcan says goes.
Didn't know, or God only knows, because internal consistency is for pussies. Ahriman, for his part, would begin his long and storied career of failing at everything he does by casting the rubric of Ahriman to stop the flesh change. One moment the Thousand Sons were meat, the next about 5% of them were meat, and 95% of them were dust inside their armor. Those former flesh and blood beings, now called rubric marines, walk around as something you can barely even call a shell of their former selves. Their spirits only really flare back up when they're led by a sorcerer into battle, and even then it's just a sort of warrior's instinct kind of deal. Outside of that, they just kind of numbly stand around, which makes them decent guards. It's not like they're gonna get bored or need to go take a bathroom break, they're just dust. Alternatively, they're in a constant hellish limbo, and when a sorcerer drags them up to fight, it's like the Cenobites from Hellraiser digging hooks into their very souls. That one was told to me by someone else, though. I've not read that directly myself, so take it with a grain of salt. Either way, the end result is pathetic to look at. An entire legion of thinking human beings turned into automatons, still alive and present technically, but trapped in their armor for all eternity. As for Ahriman, he tried to do it again later. The rubric, that is, this time to restore the dusty lads to flesh. Didn't work. If memory serves, he restored a single rubric back to flesh and saved himself from some unrelated nasty business. During all his various escapades, he's also somehow convinced himself that not only is he not a servant of Tzeentch, but that he can become an all-powerful god of magic and sorcery if he plays his cards right. Despite Tzeentch personally saving him from Magnus after he cast his first rubric. And despite Tzeentch considering him to be his greatest champion, arguably more so than even
Cap. Don't bro cap for a living? Bro, like, doesn't Tzeentch, like, isn't, like, his main thing, like, capping is, like, lying? Like, why would you even, yo, Magnus, why would you even take that to heart? I bet he really took pride in that too. Bro, last time I checked, he caps for a living, bro. Like,
Magnus himself. I wish I could go through my life with that level of delusion. Oh, but don't worry, eventually he mostly calmed down on obsessively recreating the rubric. Now he's just trying to break into the Black Library. You know, the home base of the singular Eldar faction that's allowed to present a good showing of itself. Where the last remaining fully powered god they have is. Yeah, that'll totally work out for you, buddy. I believe in you. Going back to delusion, though, he likes to tell himself that he's unchanged after 10,000 years in the warp. To quote Iskander Kaon on Araman, "Yet I have seen the void that screams where his face used to be." Now granted, that man also claimed to have beaten Magnus in a 1v1 and a whole bunch of other crap, so God only knows how honest he is. But on this I believe him, so it goes to show you what you get with the Thousand Sons. Erasing the whole character is just as screwed as everyone else, and he not only doesn't recognize it, but refuses to. Which is an attitude that can make for an appealing character, but it can also make for a complete idiot of a character.
True.
Especially since all the other Chaos God champions seem to mostly be having fun with their lot in life, but no, this guy just has to showboat around thinking he's all independent. Word of advice, Araman, just because you can't see the strings doesn't mean you aren't a puppet. One last thing before I stop kicking a man who's been kicked by the universe since his birth, do you know how pathetic it is to be made a fool out of by—
does anybody know this woman's name right here, yo? I wasn't drooling, by the way. I thought I had something on my lip, so I was like trying to like pause, but I was trying to suck on it. I wasn't drooling. Does anybody know this woman right here though? Let me know, yo.
by the Yanari. Welcome to Azek Araman's wild ride, everyone. To his infinitely slight credit, he was doing good against them, which means nothing because you have a pulse you can kick the Yanari's ass, but fair enough, I'll give him his credit. Then Yvraine reversed the rubric on a bunch of Marines, and when Araman was all like, "Everyone stop, I need to know how she did this," she had a Wraith Knight bust a hole in the webway and flung those regloved Marines into the warp. Araman screamed, ran in after them, and the matter more or less resolved itself. Araman got played by the Yanari. The Yanari. There's no coming back from that one. That's it. You're done. You were outplayed by the Yanari. That's like getting outplayed by a class of violently crippled and brain-damaged kindergartners. You're done. Hang up your villain coat. It is time to retire. For one more lore reason, they're always—
Dang. So like, wow. So wait, like, if you lose to the Yanari, you basically lose aura.
is either the second fiddle character or the twist villain in a really boring way. Let me use some of my own Eldar Farseer Psyker powers and predict every Thousand Sons character you will read about if the book has them as a villain. Up until the ending, they will be subservient to the then main thread of the book. At the last moment, one of two things will happen. Their plan will go wrong and they will be executed by either the protagonist or the big bad, or their plan will go right and they become the main villain, to then be executed by the protagonist. Like in Space Marine 2, with what I won't even pretend to call a plot twist because I'm not going to insult you like that. And also, as a special lore bonus complaint just for you viewer, there will be some absolute BS about how this was all a part of Tzeentch's master plan and you are a mere puppet on a string, right before or after they die. Which, you know what? Yeah, that's another thing. The Thousand Sons always go on about how Tzeentch sees all, Tzeentch is the architect of fate, or some variation of Tzeentch controls everyone ever. And you know what question I have in response? According to who? Tzeentch, the god of lying? Or demons of Tzeentch, who also—
I was literally about to say that, bro. He literally caps for a living, bro. Like, he literally lies for it. Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. This looks hard. Like, the bird thing that was in Space Marine 2, that looked absolute fire, y'all. I don't know if I even told y'all that, but, like, yo, like, it was hard. I think the it was called Cairo or something like that. It was hard.
regularly lie? Oh
was
yeah,
hard,
Mr.
y'all.
Thousand Son Sorcerer, Tzeentch definitely has a plan for you. Tzeentch totally isn't just as ultimately impotent as the rest of the gods, but he just makes shit up to hide that fact. I definitely believe you when you say Tzeentch could totally be all-powerful for real, guys, he just doesn't want to be. Yeah, okay, you magical clowns, do me a favor and conjure yourselves up a river to cry for me. Now this isn't do or don't thou—
Yo, Pancreas No Work is really talking that ish to y'all. I mean, bro, if he was talking this ish about, like, my favorite, like, you know, guy in Warhammer, bro, I would never take that type of, like, negativity, y'all. Like, I don't mean to, like, you know, to start everything, y'all, but, like, I don't know if y'all want to say something to him. Like, if you want to say anything towards Pancreas at work, just comment down below, bro. Like, it's really crazy what he's like. He's really talking to y'all. He ain't talking to me. He's talking to you guys.
Thousand Sons, or a replacement for it, but I do have two brief tabletop negatives to give you. First is their army rule, and this one is only the lesser of the two evils because of what comes next. It helps you get command points, which itself is made easier if you control objectives, which so far so good. More command points, more better. Same for capturing objectives. It also involves rolling a die, which again, that's fine. It's a dice game. Some randomness is appreciated.
True.
But to me, actually reading through it is like getting punched in the face by Games Workshop and then getting called a wizard-based slur, because it can help the enemy. In fact, depending on how many objectives you control, it's more likely to help the enemy than it is you. Real simple stuff. If someone uses a stratagem, roll a d6. On a 6, you get a command point. Except on a roll of 1 or 2, your opponent gets a command point. Now, of course, you add 1 to the roll if you control as many or more objectives than your enemy, but let me lay out a scenario for you of a hypothetical 40k game. Turn 1, you plonk down your guys as does your opponent, and each grab your closest command points. Your plan is in ascendance, so you get the bonus. It's turn 1. No one uses a stratagem. Army rule is useless. Turn 2, you get beat to the middle objective because your opponent goes first. Someone uses a stratagem. You roll and get a 2. Even if you had won that race, nothing would have happened, but now your opponent gets a command point because you know what, Thousand Sons player? Games Workshop hates you. They hate you and the thousands of hours edge highlighting that you put into painting this army. The funny thing is, from a lore...
Now, I'm gonna keep it real, y'all. Y'all know me. I always keep it real. I don't want Games Workshop to send those black trucks to towards my home. So, but is he wrong though? Again, Games Workshop, if you watching this, I ain't say nothing. That's all pancrease, no work. I don't want y'all to send those Games Workshop black trucks to the crib.
standpoint, this absolutely tracks for a Tzeentchian army, but from a gameplay standpoint, I hate this, because without good objective control, their army rule, the thing that makes them unique and special amongst everyone else, has a better chance to hurt than help. It's either a 1/6 chance to help you, or a 1/3 chance to help you if you have objective control down pat. All other outcomes either do nothing or help the opponent. Their other tabletop downside is the big one. You know what it is. Their combat patrol. Are you interested in the Thousand Sons, the premier evil space wizards of the setting? From a descriptor as basic as that, I would be. Well, here's a goat. Is it a sci-fi goat? Does it have arcane armor or strange weapons that bend and twist space and time itself as it fights? No. By default, he's painted blue, and we gave him a gun. Go to hell, thanks for the $170. Nothing more needs to be said on top of that, because what more can be said? But the main reason, the ultimate reason, beyond all others I made this video, the straw that broke the camel's back into making me hate the Thousand Sons beyond any other, Magnus the Red Scarred Commander is the pinnacle of horse shit. That's right, I fooled you all with my own Tzeentchian plot. This video only exists because I wanted to complain about Magic the Gathering. Fair warning, I'm going to be loud, because thinking about this makes me angry. There's your warning, everyone who's listening to this while they're falling asleep. It's gonna get loud. The Chaos deck in Commander is mostly red-blue, because someone at Wizards of the Coast saw the second TTS Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode and thought it would be a good way for Chaos to actually play in Magic. Apparently, there's some black in there, but in the game that sparked all this nonsense, I never saw it. Nothing but red-blue all day, baby. I love facing Izzet. Meanwhile, I'm playing Tyranids, which need red, blue, green, and all I drew were red and blue lands and cards that need...
Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. It sounds like he's talking in code right now. I don't know too much about like the tabletop. I know a lot about the video games. I don't know too much about the tabletop. So if y'all know what he's saying, like bro, like I'm gonna be honest with you, it sounds like he's speaking straight algebra 2 to me right now. But we're gonna let it rock.
Did green, but I didn't have any green lands. And this is an issue because apparently someone else at Magic saw the all-consuming hive of the Tyranids and went, yes, this is the faction that needs a large variety of colors to use effectively to represent the complex industry of fucking eating people. Now, the guy playing Magnus. He's a very good friend. I always enjoy spending time with him. He's a great guy to be around. But in that moment, I wish for his death. Because turn 1, he puts down a land. Also turn 1, he puts down a Soul Ring, which costs only 1 mana of any color. Turn 2, another land. Turn 3, oh look at that, Magnus only costs 3 mana of any color as well as red and blue. It's turn 3, the other guy has 3 lands down, the Soul Ring gives him 2 free floating mana, so now it's time for Magnus to show up. So from that point onward, it's time for Magnus to strap me down and shove his bright red dick straight down my throat.
Somebody come get their cousin. Yo. Let me just. Mercy. I know I haven't done this in a long time, And Pam, bro, you know we love you over here, bro. But Swiss flight, please bring me the list. I never thought I'd ever seen a day where I had to add Pancrease no work to the school threat list. You ready? Swiss, say what's up to the people. Y'all, Swiss said hi. Swiss, Pancrease no work. Pancreasnowork. Pancrease no work. Capital N, capital W. Write it down? Okay. If you're new here, I have a list. It's called the school threat list. If your name gets on that list, you are a school threat. You'll be in jail for life. Pancrease no work. I didn't even want to do that to you, bro. But the fact that you really broke that down to us and gave us tutorial steps on what he did to you, the fact that you did that, bro.
because he cheapens all sorcery by 1 mana cost and creates a 3/3 chaos spawn whenever he attacks. But we aren't done, because the cherry on top of this cake is that he can fly. And with him being 4/5, I just have to sit there and accept that I'm taking 4 commander damage a turn, because oh what? You thought you would have fun playing this fun card game with your friends? It's only turn 4 and you don't have any flying monsters yet because you're playing Tyranids and everything in your deck is built on working in conjunction with like 50 other cards? Nah, this is Commander, bitch. We ball in these streets. You get to deal with some asshole's 5 bajillion free chaos spawn. Meanwhile, I'm here trying to build the Tyranids military-industrial complex up because that's a thing, apparently. Oh, but the Tyranids can be really scary in Commander with their ways to gain counters. Not when you're fighting a 3-front war because everyone's afraid of the theoretical Tyranid deck I'd much rather be playing They Can't Be. The Chaos player didn't even win the game. It's just absurd to me. It's like, oh, it's Tyran 3. Oh, Magnus the Red?
He still lost?
D's here? Turn 3? Awesome. Thanks to my channel members. You're all good people. If you'd like
Hey man, shout shout out to Pancrease No Work, man, for this video. Now that you guys have it, a lot of you guys were actually commenting down below. It was like, yo, we need this video. We need the 1,000 Wadi, 1,000 Suns suck. We need the reaction. So I got y'all, man. He went crazy in this one. I still think he went a little bit more crazy in the Space Wolf video. But shout out to Pancrease No Work again for this video. Thank you guys so much for all the support, man. I really appreciate it. We got the Game Awards in T-minus what 48 hours with the game. Let me see. Yeah, we got the Game Awards in 2 days, y'all, on Thursday. So let me just tell you guys, what we're doing. So on Thursday, I'm uploading my 2 Warhammer videos like I usually do, and then whenever the Game Awards start, I was gonna react to it live, but then I'm like, you know what? I don't know how the background is gonna be. It might be loud, like the background, whatever. The Game Awards, I think they come on around what 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I was just thinking about I don't know, I'm either gonna react to the entire Game Award thing, which is 3 to 4 hours, or I'm probably just gonna just have it on my laptop, have the Game Awards on my laptop, and then just wait, just to see like whatever trailer that I want to react to, etc. Because I'm gonna be reacting to. I'm gonna say there's gonna be at least probably 20 videos up that day of just reactions to new games, new world premieres, just new stuff coming through. So we don't know what we're gonna get for the Game Awards, but I'm really excited about it. I cannot wait for the Game Awards, man. This year wasn't really a big year for gaming. A lot of games got pushed back to 2026, and so I'm definitely expecting 2026 to be a really good gaming year. So I'm most likely just going to be on the side, just watching the Game Awards by myself, and then whatever trailers come up, I'm just going to be like reacting to them as the Game Awards is going on, just uploading it. I'm going to be working overtime, but bro, I gotta do it for the Game Awards. I gotta upload multiple reactions for the Game Awards, man, because I get really excited whenever I see new trailers, new world premieres, etc. So I'm just glad. Oh my goodness, like bro, last year, real quick, I know I'm yapping, but last year what I used to do is, when I used to just be on this laptop, bro, I used to have to just watch the entire Game Awards all the way through, and then I would react to the trailers or whatever, and then it would take a little bit long time because this laptop is kind of old. But shout out to this laptop for actually holding it down, because this laptop actually helped me get content out to you guys, bro. So this laptop right here, I will never forget. But I'm most likely just gonna be just watching the Game Awards on this laptop, and then on my actual PC, I'm gonna just be recording video game. I'm going to be recording like video game reaction trailers to the world premieres, the new game trailers, new games overall. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of videos, so hopefully you guys enjoy the video, man. Thank y'all so much for all the support. I really appreciate it. And yeah, man, from January to December. I know I said it a bunch of times, but shout out to everybody who supported me from January to December. Make sure you guys comment down below a Christmas tree emoji to be entered into the Christmas giveaway that will be revealed on Christmas Day, which is December 25th. $30 gift card of your choice if you do win. Everyone's name will be put into a spinner wheel. So, and it's a one-time thing. It's not a multiple take type of thing. No, it's a one-time thing. And yeah, thank y'all so much for the support. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good day, and peace out, y'all.